Am I live? Oh my goodness. There we are. Okay, I am live. Hello, everyone, and Breakthrough family. How are you? And welcome. This is the Breakthrough Show Extra, Ask Crystal, a space that empowers you to take control of your spiritual path by answering your questions, curiosities, and guidance on your current challenges so you too can experience breakthrough moments. I am your host, Crystal Cockerham, author, mentor, and feminine wisdom teacher of wisdomawakens.com. I'm going to add the call-in information in the comments below here so that we can keep on trucking. All right. So how is everybody today? Let me know. Give me a hello. And where are you calling from? You know, I like to know that kind of stuff. We are coming to you live a whole week early this month. So yeah, I am having, hi Kim, how are you? I had a schedule, a trip schedule. Hi Jess. Yes, happy Thursday. So there's so much going on. I would love to know what's happening with you ladies. And I thought today, while we are just checking out and hanging out and seeing if our first caller is going to phone in, that we would just kind of talk about what it is to tune in and to trust your knowing. There is so much happening for everyone right now in the world. And so how do you do that dance of knowing what's true and what's right for you and still claiming that despite all of this outside chatter and even the chatter in your mind that isn't your authentic voice, and stepping into and trusting that? So that's really powerful and very important all the time, not just in the here and now of today. So I wanted to really kind of talk about that. Like if you are someone who really kind of feels like you have that down pat, then share your process, because it can help another person um, fall into their their flow. So for me, it's visceral, to put it in the most kind way. When I'm really tapping into something for myself, it is an absolute feeling. If it's not right, it feels not exactly stuck, but a little bit heavy, and and almost like there's a resistance, kind of like when you are walking down the sidewalk and you feel the wind, but it's just enough to give you that little bit of resistance. For me, if it's a no, I feel that, like kind of like you're walking against the wind. If it's a yes, I feel that lightness. I'm not feeling any pushing from the wind, but I'm feeling a lightness, almost like a little bit less gravity. So for me, that is the visceral check-in, so to speak, of what that feels like to really tune in and trust myself. And so an example of what that is you know, any kind of decision. Do I try this new program out for my business? Because when you're searching for different programs, you know, you always have more than one to choose from, and you know, it's like, okay, what are the positives and the negatives? Blah blah blah. Hi, Cheryl Ford. How are you today? Thank you for joining us for Ask Crystal this morning. Where on the globe are you joining us from? I would love to know. And so we were just I was just talking about, you know, how you step into the trust of your knowing when other things from around you and even your non-authentic voice is telling you otherwise. How do you know the difference? And so that is what we were just discussing. So I'd really love to know if you ladies who are joining me now, or even on the replay, if you have any questions regarding a situation that you are currently a little challenged with or a lot challenged with, as well as if you have, oh, Atlanta, lovely. How is Atlanta these days? Is it like normal hustle and bustle, or I think you're the first person I've actually spoken to from Atlanta to ask that question. So I don't know anything about the current climate in Atlanta, if it's all full steam ahead and normal flow and openings with businesses or not. It's just a curiosity. So also, if you have any questions about your spiritual path, or if maybe some new buzzwords or hot topics or terminology has popped up for you, that overcast and muggy today. It's that way here too. Just not muggy. It's like a damp chill. You know, do you have any questions around maybe your chakras, maybe any kind of terminologies that has popped up into your sphere recently, and you're like, I want to know more about that. What exactly is that? Not sure if I'm super clear. I promise if you have a question, other people have a question about it too. So, you know, I have this saying, the worst questions are the ones that you don't ask. Because everybody needs to have clarity, and it just makes your flow so much easier. The energy has been crazy lately. Thank you, Mars retrograde. Yeah, definitely. I totally hear that. Things are coming back to life bit by bit. Most restaurants and businesses are doing curbside service and to-go dining. Oh, okay. So yeah, you guys aren't fully open either. I'm in Michigan. We're not fully open either. So I was just curious. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, so there is a ton of planets in retrograde right now. And what does that mean? Anytime we're in a retrograde at the highest level, that means it's time to revisit, to recharge, to reset, to rejuvenate, to recenter, to resource yourself. Because those are absolutely opportunities that bring things up to redo, to re-examine, to re-look at. And right now with Mars in retrograde, and Josh, you're going to have to help me out with this because you know I'm not the astro person that you are. I follow it, but I'm not an expert. So, you know, how I look at things is then I look at the characteristics of the planet and what the planet kind of represents and the energies that are that it kind of rules or governs, so to speak. And then of course different planets rule different signs. So then you can look at the characteristics, see, and that's where I get all fuzzy. So that's why I follow experts and listen to their guidance on that. But I very much know that Mars and Aries are doing a thing, and I am very sad that I missed the crossing over of Mars over the moon because it was cloudy where I live and we didn't even get to see the moon. So, in case you didn't know, Mars did this really cool thing, and it literally crossed in between the moon and the Earth. And yeah, I didn't get to see it. But yes, Mars in Aries. Aries is very fiery. A lot of people will relate to Aries as being the quick to anger, right? Aries in Greek mythology, the god of war, so quick to act. So I'm saying, okay, we're gonna all feel triggered. We're gonna all feel tired. We're gonna all feel kind of dense and heavy. So what can you do to lighten your load? My tips for that are anytime that you're feeling, oh, that's okay, Cheryl. Thank you for that. Cheryl says the energies are really heavy right now. I've been experiencing some fuzzy headaches and sometimes buzzing in the ears. Me too. And especially whenever there's a season shift, I get those. But also, if there is different types of space weather happening, like solar flares and that kind of thing, that really affects my physical being as well. But especially here in Michigan, we're getting ready to do the season transition, and the barometric pressure shift really does affect me a lot. And no worries, I'm mistyping my name. It's a common thing. I'm always asked how to spell my name. And Jessica says the energy is such that I'm passing out too early to see anything cool in the sky. Oh, that really stinks. Even if you could see it, you can't because you're not awake. I'm sorry. I've been there. I've been there. So yeah, so really, when you're feeling triggered, I mean, my tips and takeaways for that is try to center yourself and really, because when you're triggered, that means something's right there for you to process and right there for you to kind of move through and step into. And we have a caller. Give me one moment just to bring you into the room here. So yeah, anytime something pops in for you and here we go, allowed to talk. If I click it enough times, it's gonna work. I'm unmuting you. So I just want to finish with my thought really quick here. And while we have, a caller on the line who needs to, there we go. So yeah, anytime you're triggered, that just means that something's really front and center for you. And it's showing you a pattern for you to transcend. So right now, with so many things being emotionally charged in the world, it's definitely going to trigger different things within our being for us to re-examine, to re-look at, to rewrite, to revamp in our being. So welcome. Who's joining us today?
I believe it's me, Kimberly.
Hold on, I have no sound. Welcome. Who's joining us today?
I think it's me.
Oh, it is you.
Okay, just check. It's Kimberly.
Hi, Kimberly. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Body tensions are fun. So, I mean, if you're triggered, but you know kind of where it's coming from and all that stuff, my question is, how do you kind of bounce back, I guess? Like, is it just like a self-care thing? Or are there other things that you can do to kind of get your energy back and kind of get yourself on track from where you're going, because a lot of people had a really crazy week. And I had a friend yesterday who was feeling really low, and instead of commenting on Facebook with everybody else, I contacted her myself, and I recommended that she do something for herself. And I was going to check in with her today to see how she was doing and seeing if that helped. But like, that's the only thing I can think of is like, take some time for yourself.
Yeah, and Kimberly, I really invite people to really start when they're starting to feel that off, or when something really big and exciting triggers them, to really just pause, even if it's just for 10 seconds, and connect with their breath.
Okay.
That is really, one of the most powerful tools that we all have access to, and we forget because it's something that our body does automatically for us, right?
Yeah.
And so it's often overlooked as one of the most powerful and effective tools in helping us to really unplug, even if it's a few fleeting seconds. So really the way that I do it is breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth. But when I'm inhaling, I'm really bringing the breath deep into my belly as I possibly can, and trying not to engage my lungs, because if you're a person who's prone to anxiety or panic attacks, then it's really easy for your breathing to exacerbate that. And this is just a good way to kind of keep your body calm. Jess says, yes, hashtag just breathe. That's a whole word, honestly. Most of the time, what we need is right in front of us. It's just something we have taken for granted. Yeah, for sure. And so when you breathe into as deep into your belly as you can, and you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, that is forcing your brain to say, it's kind of like the old-fashioned switchboards. It's forcing your brain to go, what am I doing? And it's allowing for things to kind of settle. And so in that moment, whether it takes you 3 or 5 or 12 breaths, and whether it takes you 30 seconds or 3 or 4 minutes, you're going to be able to think and come at whatever is happening more clearly. Right? And that's the difference between reacting versus responding. Reacting is all emotionally charged, and not necessarily always thinking, because you're reacting, and it's coming from that trained behavior, so to speak, like that automated. And then responding is, okay, you've had time, you know what this is, and you now in the present moment is going to be kind of taking control, so to speak.
Okay, I understand all that. I just mean like after the fact, because you're still going to be tired from the initial shock of it, like the residual thing, like the planetary stuff is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I just mean, like, how do you bounce yourself back? Besides, like, the breathing is great for in that moment of that emotional moment. It's a great response, but I'm just wondering, like, okay, well, what kind of things do you recommend doing after the fact when you're kind of ready to, like, okay, I can't be stuck here. Time to, step back into the space. I've had my breathing. Now it's to get more proactive, I guess. How do you get your energy back for that? I usually take a nap, but that's
yeah, so some things are larger than just breathing, but that's the starting point. And so the next step would be processing, right? Sometimes you need to process before you respond. And sometimes you process after you respond. And how do you process? And everybody processes differently. Some people are very avid journalers. Walking, going for a walk in nature, or just sitting outside or standing outside is a really wonderful reboot for your energy system. And I count those both as processing and self-care, equally, because, many things that we do, I feel are double duty, so to speak. And so, and then, depending on how charged the trigger is going to dictate how much processing and how much and the types of self-care that are required for you. Um, if it's something super huge, it might take, okay, I went for a walk and I'm still feeling this. Okay, let's do some more processing. Perhaps there's some emotions that are coming up for you to release, whether it's, screaming into a pillow or filling your bed with pillows and kind of, getting the aggression out, right? Safely, where you're not hurting yourself or another. I've had it where sometimes a client, there's just so much there where they have literally just screamed into a pillow or gone and sat in their car and just kind of let it go because there's something, that they haven't spoken to, right? And they need to move it in that way. And sometimes it's just that emotional purging where you just let yourself cry without judgment and you love yourself enough to do that. And then after that, I mean, that in itself is an amazing, compassionate, courageous act of self-care. But then after that, how do you physically nurture yourself back to balance, right? For some people, it might be just getting in the shower, walking on the beach. Some people, it might be soaking in the tub, or maybe you just need to lay down and take a nap. So, and then you just like, okay, is there more? Is there something more for me to look at here? And if not, it's how do I wish to be in this situation now that I have released the old pattern and move through it? And then that's the next step. Does that answer your question, Kimberly?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that helped. Is there anything else lingering for you?
No, there isn't. I appreciate you answering that for me.
Well, I appreciate you phoning in because that's a really wonderful question. And I'm so happy your friend is very fortunate to have someone like you who is there to say, okay, you need to time out and take care of yourself instead of, oh, don't worry about, you know what I mean? Like you're that good listener that everybody needs, a good support system in their life. So thank you.
Well, on Facebook, everyone's like, "Oh, don't feel that way," and blah 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 blah. Like you can just stop feeling overwhelmed. That's not how that works.
Right.
So you just step away, and that was the best thing I could tell her.
Yeah.
But when you get that, and I don't know if she'll read everyone, but I also told her disconnect from your phone. So she said she was going to take a shower and watch her favorite movie. And I'm like, okay, from your shower to the end of your movie, don't touch your phone. Don't even look at it. You don't need any of that in your life. And
Good.
so she went, okay, because the technology interferes with your me time, unless music is part of your me time, if that makes any sense.
It interferes with more than your me time. And it, for everyone on the planet, it's like that open accessibility of I'm just muting you just for a second because I was getting feedback on my voice. So cell phones, it really opens up for people to not have and support their own boundaries. In And it also fosters that false need to always be plugged in and connected with everything. So it really truly does, even though they're wonderful, it's that bittersweet aspect, right? You need to be in control and disciplined with yourself and your time, and have boundaries for yourself, because it's more than me time, right? It interferes with your energetic field, and it can be a distraction. And depending on how connected and tuned into yourself you are, some people are far more sensitive to those EMF energies than others, and it can really wreak havoc in the person's whole being. So that is a very, very key important aspect. And I just so you know, I just unmuted you because I want to give you a chance to speak in reply to that.
Oh no, I totally get that. I mean, honestly, so a few years ago, I was in an accident and I didn't have a phone for 3 days. And I mean, my sisters were doing all the logistic calling for everything. And I mean, I was kind of glad I did not have a phone where I didn't have to think about that stuff, because I was recovering from like a major traumatic experience. And, being on my phone and having access to the reports on that experience were not going to help me. So to have 3 days of just like, I'm just here, I am with my family, I am good because I am safe, is what I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of a, great thing to not have a phone for a few days.
Yeah.
Also makes me appreciate any time I'm in an area where there's no service.
Right.
It's like, cool,
right.
no one can bug me.
Yeah. That's important, and what a blessing that your sisters were willing and able to, kind of take the reins of that for you, and handle all of that. And absolutely, even though a lot of the things coming in would have been supportive and well intended, it's very difficult. Sometimes you just need to close up, zip up, and be, you know, in your bubble. And so I'm so glad that you had that support for you.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you so much. I don't know how long this goes for, but I'm sure, someone else might have a question.
Yeah,
so have
no
a
problem.
wonderful day, and I will be continuing to watch.
Well, thank you. I'm glad that you called in. Thank you so much, Kim.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye. Have a great one. All right. Well, thank you, Kimberly. I feel like that was really powerful for anyone watching this, in real time or on the replay, whenever that real time is for them. And because it's really powerful. I think just season one, there was an Ask Crystal that was about, when you're in need, make sure that you're getting good support. And I feel like this was a really wonderful piggyback on that. Because in that episode, I had spoken about really having your support team, and not people who will keep you in it or have you ignore it, but somebody who's there and who will really hear you and may or may not have guidance. Because oftentimes it's in the hearing where they're just holding that space for you. That is a first step, and that too is a courageous first step for you in reaching out. I absolutely love it when people call in. I love the feature of people calling in for spotlight guidance on something. It's really brought Ask Crystal to life to me, for me. And I feel like every time somebody calls in, it helps 300 people, right? Because we'll never know how much that ripple has of reach, and as it goes through all the chains and the networks. So I just really appreciate and love it when people call in for guidance and support. So I would like to just kind of mention that I host a free private Facebook group, Feminine Wisdom Keepers. It's a community for the awakened woman, beginning every Tuesday at 11:11. I do a free weekly training in there, and that Facebook group again is Feminine Wisdom Keepers. And tomorrow, coming up on the Breakthrough Show tomorrow, is we're making an intuitive body scrub with the empathic herbalist Laura Guthrie. We'll be also dishing out about the first episode in Netflix's new series Unwell. Plus, we're talking to Dr. Adrienne McLean about how breakdowns can lead to breakthroughs, and you'll hear about her new memoir, Melting Ivory, too. Ooh, I love that title. Is just dripping with yumminess, Jess. Melting Ivory. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I'm going to have to check out Dr. Adrienne McLean's book. Also, don't forget, you get so much more from the Breakthrough Show by supporting us on Patreon, where you'll gain access to our exclusive community, and you can find out more at patreon.com/The Breakthrough Show. And that is a wrap for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I am Crystal Cockerham of wisdomawakens.com, and I look forward to seeing you next month for the final episode, because I believe the season ends in October, of the Breakthrough Show Extra Ask Crystal, guidance that empowers you to align with your inner wisdom and continue on your spiritual path. Stay safe and don't be afraid to shine your light, everybody. Tomorrow's show is all the things Jess says. Yeah, it sounds like it. I love body scrubs. So have a great month, everyone. Love you all for joining me. Thank you so much, and make it a great one. Bye for now.